So, Tyler, what was your reaction to the Rise of Skywalker?
Man, I was just, in my mind, I was screaming, and you know what it sounded like? Oh my gosh, that was incredible! Oh my gosh! That was amazing! That's how I felt.
Okay. Hello, Internet peoples. Todd here again for Todd Talks Movie Reviews, and I have Tyler back with me again to discuss the Rise of Skywalker spoilers. So, just to warn you, this is in fact a spoiler review. Well, not much of a review, more of a spoiler discussion, I'd say. Yeah,
Huh?
So it's more of a spoiler discussion, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
I don't
yeah, I
know
don't
what
know.
else we could really call it.
We just got out of the movie just a little bit ago, and I feel like my emotions are too raw at this point to put together a full review.
Well, I mean, let's be real, like, this is how I felt, like, right after we got out of the theater.
Yeah, so it's just, I feel like I'm gonna see it again tomorrow, so I'll have a non-spoiler review. That's gonna come out actually before this. So if you're seeing this, we recorded this before I filmed that. But hey, so again, spoilers. If you have not seen The Rise of Skywalker, do not watch this video if you don't want it spoiled for you. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. I've given you a warning. Click off now.
You've already given us the view, so it doesn't matter. You've already submitted to us. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. My emotions are way high.
Yeah, I will say, just to start off here, this film is definitely a lot better than The Last Jedi. Yeah, like honestly, I just looked at the audience reactions versus The Last Jedi versus The Rise of Skywalker. Critics are panning this movie, but audiences seem to love it. It's got like 88% audience score.
You know why? It's because, movie reviewers are idiots.
There seems to be definitely a disconnect between movie reviewers now and the audiences.
It's because they're stupid.
I wouldn't say it's because they're stupid. They just aren't. Their ideas of what makes a good movie are different than what audiences think make a good movie.
Well, they're they're a little overcritical about some stuff.
To be fair, I'm very overly critical of movies as well, but I was pleased with this movie, so I really liked it.
Well, I mean, you already saw my reaction screaming out.
Yeah. But so let's discuss the actual topics of this movie, why we're sitting here talking about the film right now. There are a lot of reveals in this film. A lot of big reveals. Again, spoilers. First off, the beginning scene of the movie, starting off with Emperor Palpatine admitting to Kylo Ren that he created Supreme Leader Snoke and was the voice inside his head. Wow, that was just, I love right off the bat. It's just explains who Snoke is. It's awesome. We got that answer right away. And yeah, what did you think of it?
I don't think anyone thought that Snoke was a clone. No one. That threw everybody off.
Yeah, no, I know, like, Star Wars theory, actually his first video ever was a theory of, is Snoke Palpatine? And he's loving it right now that that's the case. I'm sure, like, when that clip came out of, like, Palpatine being like, I have been every voice, and then Snoke, you have ever heard, and Vader, inside your head. He flipped out when he saw that, I know, but yeah, that was just really handled well, and seeing like the different like Snoke bodies inside the cloning chambers, it's like, wow. I still have a few questions about that, but I'm satisfied with that answer that Snoke is connected to Palpatine, which ties everything together. It makes all of the it really shows that Palpatine's really like the main villain of this trilogy now.
Well, I mean, let's be real. I mean, we can still go with my answer that he did the whole life essence or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm 100% sure that's canon because he did say it in the movie. He said that when you strike me... Oh, shit, I can't even talk about it.
We'll talk about that later. We can talk about it later. But definitely, he was probably... Like, his spirit was probably, like, invading those bodies of some kind. It's really interesting though. Like I love how like Kylo Ren shows up, not because he's like wants to serve Palpatine, but because he's like, I need to get rid of this threat to my power. Let's be honest about Kylo Ren here. He was a intimidating villain through the whole movie. I absolutely loved Kylo Ren in this movie.
I saw Vader.
Yeah, there were a lot of Darth Vader elements in there. I felt like he commanded the same respect as Vader.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't scream as much as he did in the first few movies. Like he really matured in this film and was much more intimidating. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I think. Well, I mean, there was that one part where he did lift an officer to the ceiling,
Right,
which
but
was sick, and did that without moving his hands.
yeah, he did, and again, he didn't like overreact or anything.
Nope.
He didn't start screaming like no.
He
like
kind of
does in
just was
everything else.
like this. He was just kind of just.
He kept talking and
Yeah.
just was like, nope, stop trying to subvert my authority here. And the Knights of Ren are so cool looking. Like honestly, we don't learn that much about them in this film, but that's what the new comic book coming out is gonna be about. But they definitely are more loyal, I think, to the dark side and the Sith than Kylo Ren himself.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that. Yeah.
Seeing as we just discussed, Palpatine, being in this movie. One thing I will say though, my biggest question still coming out of this film is how is he still around? Like, how did they get him off the Death Star to Exegol? Exegol, yeah, Exegol. To hook him up to that machine with all those tubes. I mean, because it's clear that this is the corpse of Palpatine. This is the body that Vader threw over the edge, and like obviously his fingers are like missing. He's got like bones poking out through. Like he is a corpse hooked up to a machine, barely being kept alive.
By the way, the visuals for that look pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, it's like so menacing and dark.
Well, not only that, but like how they did with the hands. Like literally, he's missing like this piece of his finger. Well, no, but
yeah,
like I don't know, anywhere between like here, he's like missing, which is actually really cool because you could physically see that bone. That's so interesting looking. Like they did a really good job with like the CG and stuff like that.
yeah, and so, but my big question is how is he still around? And one thing that also kind of bugs me about this film is that everyone just seems to just kind of accept the fact that Palpatine's around. Like nobody is asking the question like, how are you still around? You've been dead. Let's be clear. Palpatine at this point is like over 113 years old.
Well, he's been dead
He's been hooked up to this machine, being kept alive. Even if he survived the Death Star fall or anything like that, there still should be the big question of how are you alive at this point? Like it's just.
I mean, in Star Wars, you could be hooked up to a life support system for so long. You could. That's literally what the job of the life support system is that you literally can just live forever just on that. But you basically would just be, as he was, a corpse.
Yeah, I still want to find out how he got to Exegol at some point. The film doesn't explain that. I feel like there's a lot going on, so I can understand why they felt they couldn't explain it. But I feel like with a character as big as Palpatine, having assumed that he's been dead for so long, we need some kind of explanation as to how he's still around, because it's kind of lazy writing to just say, "Oh, he's alive. Just accept that and move on."
Well, I mean, there's definitely a connection with what happened on the Death Star with him, because, like I said, the man had contingencies for everything.
Right.
Everything. Listen, like Operation Cinder was one of them, and then the First Order being created, that was another one. Like, this man had, like, backups upon backups upon backups. So I'm pretty sure that J.J. Abrams will come out later and say why or how.
I'd be interested to see, how that happened. Maybe the novelization coming out will have an answer.
Right.
But so moving on with that, finding out that Leia has been training Rey for the past year, I think it was really cool. What did you think of that?
I thought that was fitting. I thought it was very fitting,
I mean, like, who else is going to do it? Like, Luke's dead. Someone has to train her at some point.
I mean, Luke was the Force ghost, but remember, she was trying to connect with all the Force ghosts, and she kind of just was like, she's like, they're not answering.
Yeah, I will say something else. Like, Rey is really powerful in this movie. Like, she's insanely powerful.
The first time we see her, she's literally floating as she's meditating.
Yeah.
Which looks sick, by the way.
It does look pretty awesome. In fact, interesting fact, that's kind of how Rey was supposed to find Luke in The Force Awakens.
Oh.
Originally, he was supposed to be like meditating with rocks just floating around him, but Rian Johnson asked him not to because he needed to have. It wouldn't make much sense for him to be doing that and having him cut himself off from the Force in The Last Jedi. So blame Rian Johnson for that part of The Force Awakens.
Let's be honest here. This isn't an episode 8 review.
It's not. It's not.
This is. You already did it. You already did an episode 8 review. Let's just be honest.
Actually, I haven't done episode 8 review yet.
Well, you're about to.
Yeah, I'll have more videos out. I kind of failed my challenge to get all of the movies done before episode 9 comes out.
You did start the challenge late though.
That's true. I thought I could
But
do
it's
it.
whatever. But I will say this though, like the scene where they go to the what was that desert planet that they went?
Pisana.
Pisana?
Yeah.
Where they like had that whole like what was it? What did they say? What did 3PO say it was? Like that whole like gathering or something like that they were doing?
Yeah, like the celebration of like
Yeah.
their ancestors and stuff. The what are they called?
I forgot what they're called.
Oogie Oogie.
I don't know.
That's actually I think what they're called. I'll double check, but it's something like that, like the Ookie Ookie or the Oogie Oogie or something like that.
It's something interesting.
I'll double check and put the name up right here.
But I liked it. It was different, but I did like.
Oh sure, I thought it was a fun scene. Like, and there's a lot of other great parts of that scene. Like we get to see Lando again. Like he's been hanging out on Pisana for a while. I don't know why he's there, but apparently, I also find it interesting that in this movie it reveals that Luke apparently was looking for Exegol because he, for some reason, also knew that Palpatine was still around, and he made notes trying to find him, but he failed to find him, which is really interesting. Like, I definitely want to explore that more.
Right.
And he was getting help from Lando, to find Exegol.
Oh yeah, you know what? And the cool part is we finally get to see First Order jet troopers.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a
sweet.
fun scene.
That was sweet.
I do want to say though, that scene where Chewbacca gets captured by the Knights of Ren and Rey is like uses the Force to like pull the ship down,
That
like
was
force.
sick.
Yeah, that was an amazing display of power. I mean,
But not only that.
and then she.
No, remember what I said? I
Right.
said, "Oh, okay." So when you watch the movie, you see the ship kind of being pulled down, and then Kylo Ren shows up, and then they're both like kind of like doing this.
Like they're arguing. Over
Imagine you're the stormtrooper inside there, being like, "Oh shoot! Oh man, what is happening? What is going on?" And then out of nowhere, you're just dead because it explodes because Rey just decided to tap into Force lightning, which was awesome.
Yeah, her shooting lightning out of her hands, like it was accidental. She didn't have control over that. She lost control, and like it was shot a blast of lightning from her hand that blew up the ship.
You know what actually would have been really cool, just real quick, just really noticeable if her eyes turned like yellow for just like a quick instant.
Yeah, I don't. That wasn't in the movie.
No, I just think it'd be cool though.
It would have been cool. With my thoughts on Rey, obviously, I've said. Well, I haven't said this on camera yet, but my basic opinion on Rey for the past few films is she's not a Mary Sue.
You said it.
At one point I did before episode 8 came out. Yeah, she's not a Mary Sue by definition because she does struggle with things. She does have, moments of weakness and has moments of embarrassment. So she can't by definition be a Mary Sue.
She got shot by a training droid 6 times, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so she does struggle a lot. Maybe not a lot, but she does have moments of weakness, so she can't by definition be a Mary Sue. My issue with her is that she's not even in the sense that she's powerful. Like, obviously, random people can be very powerful Jedis. Like, there's nothing. I have no problems.
No random person.
No, we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, but like, I have absolutely no problems. Oh, we are recording. For a second, I thought we weren't recording. I was like, wait, what?
Awkward. You go on this whole spiel and then just be like, oh, we're not recording.
But anyways, but like, yeah, and I have absolutely no problems with having like a strong female like character lead of this film. My issues have been with her is that she's incredibly powerful with like little to no training. Now, in this movie, it's been a year after The Last Jedi, and she's been training for a while with Leia, so some of her abilities, are obviously, understandable. I mean, I was gonna say like Luke, it took him about like 4 years to train. Like, you had something
Let's
to say?
be real, okay? She was struggling during that training.
Yeah.
She was. You can chalk it up to she was actually having problems.
Yeah.
Which is acceptable. Finally,
Yeah.
Stop being like, oh, she's a Mary Sue.
I think in this film, her actions are a little more understandable and explainable, like her abilities. I mean, I'm thinking back now of even like Luke's training. Like, he definitely took like at least 4 years to train, but most of that was self-taught. If he had probably trained as much as Rey, like intensively, for about a year or so with like Yoda, he probably could have been on a similar level to her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like if you take like the amount of training he received officially under Jedi Masters, like with both Obi-Wan and Yoda, and technically some of the Saber Masters he received over the years between episodes 4 and 5, that would add up to about like maybe like 6 months of training.
She had a whole
maybe
year.
less than that actually.
She had a whole year though, and she had Leia. And you know who trained Leia?
Luke Skywalker.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, like in The Last Jedi, her taking out like the Praetorian Guard with no training is, a big problem I have with that film. But in this film, she's been training for over a year, with Leia, and she's able to do a lot of crazy OP things. And you know what? That's kind of explained with her lineage. And I think
Which we'll get to.
We'll get to in a minute, but
right.
I still feel like I would have liked to have seen more training from her in the other films, but that's not a problem with this film. That's a problem with the other films.
She did train a little bit on Octo, though.
Not really. Not.
She cut a rock in half. Come on.
That's not training. I can cut a rock in half with a lightsaber if I had one. Like.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go cut a rock in half. I'll be right back.
I just see you outside. It's not working, Tyler. I know.
But the thing, it's like so. But in this film, she's at least received some training, and it's not a fault of this film, so I'm not really going to criticize it that much.
We still never figured out what planet they were on.
It starts with an A. It's going to be in the Battlefront 2 game.
Oh, yep. All right.
And they've been for some reason holding back on the name, but it's not a planet we know. So it's not like I ever wonder why they've been keeping it a secret.
Like it.
So yeah, I don't know. It's not a planet we know, so I don't know.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I like new planets.
Me too. Yeah. But I will say, since we already kind of touched on this a little bit, let's talk about Reys Lineage. This was, by the way, I called this back in The Last Jedi. I know I haven't. I'm not on record or on screen anywhere saying this, but again, like she is a Palpatine. She is the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine, and I think that is awesome.
And yes, that does mean that Palpatine got lucky, had a kid, he got married, had Rey, and in the movie, what was it? Palpatine's son feared what his father was gonna do to her, because I guess he was gonna kill her because he knew that she was gonna overthrow him or something.
I think basically he from what I remember, he.
This is still fresh, but I'm trying
the Emperor wanted his granddaughter. Obviously, he wanted to use her for his own advances. The son wanted nothing to do. Palpatine's son wanted nothing to do with him, so he obviously ran away with his wife, and they tried to live a normal life, I guess. But Palpatine was hunting them down and having his Sith acolytes, hunt them down and all that. It's sad. I think it makes the most sense at this point because obviously her parents really weren't anybody, I guess. Again. So it's not like, Kylo Ren lied to her.
Technically, they were somebody, but to the rest of the galaxy, nobody knew who they were.
Right. I think they, cast away their titles as, Prince of the Empire,
right.
And so, yeah. So.
But yeah, that means...
that means she has a claim to royalty for the Empire. I think it's very poetically brilliant, with Rey being a Palpatine, because... if you think about it, the first few trilogies have been about the Skywalkers versus Palpatine. Now, in this film, or at least in this new trilogy, apparently, it's been the Palpatines versus a Skywalker with Solo, Ben Solo being Kylo Ren and running the First Order now. Yeah, did you have something?
Actually, that is actually okay. So it's kind of funny too because when you really look at it, Kay, it's kind of funny because yeah, you're right. Because like like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's been Palpatine running the show.
And the Skywalker's rising to fight him.
Exactly, but now you have Ben, a Skywalker, running the show
with a Palpatine trying
to stop him. It's just
it's
so crazy.
And now it's a Palpatine versus a Palpatine at the end of the film, and all that.
So anyway, so there's a scene to where they're on the planet that they're on, and Luke is training Leia how to be a Jedi, like. Not like how...
Oh, the flashback scene you're talking about, right?
Okay, so look. So you know how, like, in Last Jedi, everybody was like, oh, she learned that trick of flying or whatever, like the Force from Luke. But it's like, he's like, oh, you probably taught her a few things. No, Luke literally taught her how to be a legitimate Jedi. She had her own lightsaber.
Yeah.
She bested him with flash guards down.
Yeah, she was Luke's first apprentice, but then
that was awesome.
She gave it up to raise Ben, and she was afraid that if she continued her Jedi training, Ben would die in some way, so she quit and became a senator instead.
But can we also make a note that in that sequence, they lift up their blast shields to like show their faces. And you can see, and this is awesome. This made me so happy, and I know it made you happy.
Yeah,
young Anakin,
young Luke,
and I just have Anakin on my brain, and young Leia, and it was really cool. But I just think it's so cool the fact that wasn't that in Legends Luke training Leia?
Oh yeah. In Legends, Leia was a Jedi, but her training was very intermediate. Because she also had a lot of responsibilities in the Senate. She was more concerned with trying to rebuild the New Republic than being a Jedi. So Luke did train her a lot, but she went back and forth with being a Jedi.
I just figured it out. Okay, do you remember the span? Okay, so if you played the Battlefront 2 campaign, okay, to where like it's after they stop Operation Cinder and stuff like that, after the Battle of Jakku, it's during that 30 years.
Well,
what other time could there be?
It would probably have been right after the whole Operation Cinder stuff. Between her early years. It seems she already gave birth to Ben. And in the Aftermath novels, Leia mentions that Luke has been showing her some things in the Force, and she's able to feel the Force within her son Ben, but even then could feel the darkness around him even then, which is interesting.
Papa Palps already started that manipulation train.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He lived up to his nickname. Papa Palps. He lived up to his nickname.
Go for Papa Palpatine. I guess we can talk about that end battle scene, I guess, now that we were talking about it.
Incredible.
What I love about it is that...
There's so many ships.
Well, it's interesting because it's not like a navy of any kind. It's just everyone in the galaxy saying, we've had enough. We're not waiting for a New Republic or a rebellion to help us. We're all going to join the fight against the final order.
Oh, yeah. The Palpatine's new order is literally called the Final Order, which is actually kind of sick.
Yeah, because he created the First Order since
the Empire, the First Order, now the Final Order.
Yeah,
it's pretty sweet. But also the fact being that Todd and I straight away when when you watch the trailer, you see the Millennium Falcon fly in and you see all the ships behind it. Todd and I were like, we just went like this. We went the Ghost.
Yeah, the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels makes a cameo
again. Is it Harrison Syndulla, Jason Syndulla, Ezra, if they found him?
Yeah, we don't know who was flying that ship, but, it's in there. And a ton of other ships as well.
Pilot. Still, whoever it is a great pilot.
Yeah, it was pretty great. So we decided to, our camera cut off on us, so we're going to come back. We decided to hook up the microphone to the lightsaber because it's easier to hold than just holding the microphone right with my fingers, so.
Then it looks cool.
Yeah, it does. So since before the camera cut off, we were discussing Leia and her unfortunate demise in the film.
Oh, my voice. Oh my gosh. Sorry for the...
No, it's fine.
Just take over my voice.
No. Leia's scene was very emotional. She dies very peacefully. I love she's not killed or anything. She's just on the base, the Resistance base, finds it's her time to die, and it's her death that moves Ben Solo to come back to the light, and I think that's very moving.
Also, Rey kind of did that whole oh, you're caught off guard. Stab.
Yeah, like she
She
dies.
completely just stabbed the man.
Rey and Kylo Ren are fighting on the second Death Star ruins, and that's when Leia dies back on the base, and they can both feel her death. And it's just it's so heartbreaking. Like honestly, I legit cried. Like I miss Carrie Fisher, and it's hard for me to like watch her scenes in any movie. Every time I see her on screen and hear like her theme and John Williams' theme, it really it gets me emotional.
But honestly, let's be real here. What did you say about it originally? Because I said something in defense of it earlier when we were in the car. I said that it was something that necessarily had to happen.
Yeah, I was saying that it did feel like it just kind of happened out of nowhere. I mean, obviously, like it's played up as if like she's sacrificing herself to redeem her son. Like Maz is kind of narrating what happens. And it's like she's doing what she has to do. I thought maybe she was going to like force project herself, and that was like going to kill her. But she was going to like appear to her son like one last time, like Ben, and come back home.
I think what happened was the right thing that happened.
I mean, there's not much you can really do with her now since Carrie Fisher is gone, and she died before they could film the movie. So all the footage in the film with Leia in it is unused. Deleted scenes from The Force Awakens that they just implemented into this movie, and it's done really well, I think. But yeah, her death is really hits home, especially when Poe, Finn, and Chewbacca get back from their mission, and Chewie. Oh my gosh, I really started to bawl when Chewie just flipped out. Like he started yelling.
What was that one more time?
There
you go. Wait.
Yeah, he fell to his knees and just started bawling, and I started crying too because I'm like, that's.
You know what you said in Shriwook, right?
I know what I said in Shriwook.
You want to apologize to them then?
I'm sorry, I'm just fairly emotional right now.
You called them nerf herders.
I'm sorry.
It's what as his lawyer, he's sorry.
I thought I was your lawyer.
We're both each other's lawyers at this point.
Okay, then.
Okay, anyways.
Probably not going to keep this in this.
No.
There, but whatever.
It was really emotional, but at the same time, like as I see it, it was a necessary thing. Actually, okay. Quick side note, and I don't know if you noticed it or not, but Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Okay? Yeah.
And I know some people. I don't know if you noticed this, but the way how she had her hair was exactly how Carrie Fisher had it on Endor.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah.
I'm glad you noticed it.
Yeah. She plays Lieutenant Connix in the films. Lieutenant Connix. That's her rank for all of the 3 movies.
Aw, she got a promotion.
No.
She deserves a promotion after this movie.
Yeah. Also, what's interesting with Leia dying, leadership of the Resistance falls to Poe, and I actually really like seeing him as a leader.
Actually, it's kind of funny too because Poe literally goes up to Finn and says, "I can't do this alone, so I'm promoting you also to general." And he's like, "Well, okay, thank you very much." But that was hilarious. But I do like the fact that you actually have Finn and Poe both in great leadership roles. Like Poe is the general of the air and Finn is the general of the ground. It's sick.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
But that final moment of okay. So when they're in the throne room, kind of pulling it to where Palpatine and Rey are, and Ben gets there, of course, he fights the Knights of Ren, which he's not doing so hot because, backtrack, he kind of made a choice, and Harrison Ford had a awesome moment, which is great.
Let's talk about that.
Why not?
Having, Ben Solo, he's starting to reflect on his life, and he is kind of in a daze after just being healed by Rey, which we can talk about in a little bit later about that ability.
Awesome.
With, he has like a hallucination of his father, Han Solo, and he's just like, he has like almost a redo of his scene with him in The Force Awakens, where he's like
on the bridge,
yeah. And he's like, I don't know if I have the strength to do it. I know what I have to do. Could you help me? And stuff like that. He's like, I don't have the strength. And his father goes, yes, you do. You have the strength. You know what you need to do, and you can do it. And he's like, your son is dead. No, Kylo's dead. Not you.
Did you cry?
I was like, I kind of got emotional. I love, though.
You don't understand, man. I cried. I was like, I've been waiting for this since 7. I literally was like crying, man.
Also, what I really loved was the little nod to, you know, I love you, I know stuff. Like, you see, Kylo's about to tell his dad he loves him, but Han cuts off and goes,
he's like, Dad.
I know.
He's like, no, he doesn't say Dad.
Yeah, he doesn't say Dad. He's like, looks at me like, with tearful eyes. He's like, Dad, He goes, I know, as he touches his face. It's so great. It's a great send off.
And then Kylo Ren takes this bad boy and just goes.
Well, no,
Yeet.
Not Kylo Ren.
Oh,
Ben Solo.
Ben Solo takes this nasty piece of work that a child put together, probably. I don't know at this point. Literally takes this and just throws it
into the Death Star remains, and now we have
Kylo Ren is officially no more. Kylo Ren is dead.
Ben Solo returns. And
Ben Solo is now
helps
reborn.
Rey in the end fight against Palpatine.
That was awesome.
Let's talk about the very final shot of the film. The final shot, and we'll close with this, I think. Rey goes back to the Lars homestead where Luke grew up, where it all began. The sand has, covered the place, and she kind of like sleds around in it. Full circle. She buries
Luke and
she buries the Skywalker sabers, Leia's lightsaber and the lightsaber she wielded. This one, Anakin's lightsaber, and and then she makes her own. She builds her own lightsaber with a golden color to it.
So sick.
Based off the design of her staff.
So there is a part where there's this lady who does come up and say, like, no one's lived in this place for, many years. And she's like, yeah, it's general conversation. And she's like, who are you? And she's like, oh, I'm Rey. And she's like, Rey. And then there's this awesome touching moment to where she looks like this. And then she just sees Force Ghost of Leia and Luke, and they're like, just looking at her, smiling, and just kind of giving her that gentle nod, being like, tell him, and she said, Skywalker, my name is Rey Skywalker. And at that moment I was like, she's a Skywalker. I called it from 7. Even though she was adopted into the family, I don't even care.
Yeah.
That just made me so happy. I'm just happy that she finally became a Skywalker, completely renowned. Like, she's, in my humble opinion, to me, she was always a Skywalker.
Yeah. She rejected the title of Palpatine and became a Skywalker instead. It was adopted into that family by the Skywalkers. And I think that's a fair ending. It's a good way of ending it. And of course, her and BB-8 looking into the twin suns, as the movie ends and closes.
Did you notice the theme that they had? It was the Force theme.
It was the Twin Suns
theme. My favorite song. Well,
it's Luke's theme.
Well, the actual name is called The Force.
It originally plays. It originally plays during the Twin Suns scene from Episode 4, so that's why it was used there.
Yeah, but it's one of my favorite songs in Star Wars.
Mine too.
And I just love how it's such a great ending to one of the greatest sagas in in history, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely really enjoyed this film. I did enjoy that ending scene. I still think Revenge of the Sith did that concept a little bit better with Owen and Aunt Beru holding Luke and looking at the twin suns. I feel like that gets me more emotionally than the ending of this scene, but it still hits me hard because obviously it's the twin suns, and every time I see those twin suns and that music swell up, I get emotional.
I think I will be honest, I cried too, but I'll be real though, Todd. Just in that moment, I was like, right there, I was like, it's over, and I'm happy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm 100% satisfied, but it was a pretty satisfying ending, I would say.
But you know me, I'm 100% satisfied.
Oh, yeah.
It is now, which you guys saw in the Revenge of the Sith review. That was my favorite Star Wars film of all the Star Wars films. Now 9 actually knocked that one completely down to 2, so 9 is my new favorite.
Yeah, I still don't know where I'd rank this. I'll probably make a separate Star Wars ranking video at some point.
So you got no rank on it.
I don't have a rank on it. It's definitely up there, but I won't. I don't think I have a 100% ranking on this film yet. I still have to think about it and see how I truly feel about it. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you liked what you saw here. Thanks again for Tyler for coming up and watching this film with me.
Yeah.
Okay, why are you doing that?
No reason.
Okay, he's just really excited and wanted to show off his lightsaber, I guess. But yeah. So if you watched my last video with him in it, with the Rise of the Sith review, you can
Follow me on Instagram
Yeah.
at the Tyler Burchett.
yeah, I'll have it linked down below. Sorry if I seem very tired. I am very tired. It's late. We just got
It's like 12:33. So
yeah, it's pretty late. We just got out of the film. This was unscripted. Obviously, we just didn't really have time to write a script or anything. We just want to get our thoughts out.
And I mean, let's just be honest with that. With me screaming, that was me literally being like, keeping all my emotions in. It was hard.
Yeah.
Even on the way home, I'm probably gonna be like,
Feel free to subscribe, maybe like the video. Check out some of my other videos. I have a lot of great content on this channel. I'd say it's great content.
I enjoy the content.
You can decide for yourself if it's great content or not. But as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.